Madame Nabozniak?
Oui, hello.
Bonjour, vous m'entendez bien?
Oui, et vous m'entendez bien?
Très bien, merci. Écoutez, on a lu avec intérêt votre document. Vous avez 10 minutes pour présenter.
Oui.
Et il y aura avec les commissaires une période suivante de 10 minutes d'échange.
Okay, parfait.
Ça vous va?
I'm going to continue in English, if that's okay.
Oui, c'est possible, sans problème.
Okay, and you have my document. I'm speaking here as a resident of the area, concerned very much with the project that's going on. I live just behind it. And so I'm not going to read the document. Maybe I would just like to cover some themes that I've, maybe expand on some themes that I find are of interest. I'm definitely in agreement with the city's desire to increase the residential population of this area, Peter McGill, and I'm certainly in favor of residential development. But I think one has to take the broader approach. There is development, there is increasing the residential population, but you have to do it with a certain amount of collaboration. So I understand the city and the developers, they have to collaborate together to make a successful development. But the city itself has to maintain a certain independence. And why do they have to maintain that independence? Because they are safeguarding their citizens. They have to worry and to make sure that whatever development takes place is in fact to the good of the citizens, to the good of a neighborhood. Prioritizing the needs of the citizens needn't be a deterrent to development. It needn't be a deterrent to the developers making money. Everybody wins with a successful development. The developer makes money, the city increases their tax base. These are all very positive things, but often somehow the developer seems to have the louder voice by saying, I can't make any money. If I don't get an increase in the height, if I can't have more units, I'm not going to make any money. So we tend to cower in front of this instead of finding a path between the two to say, look, we can still do something very humane, very good, of benefit to the neighborhood, but at the same time, still leave the developer having the profit. But it's really up to the city to find that fine line with making a successful development for everybody, the developer and the citizens of a city. Too often I find there's a lot of politics in municipal politics. It shouldn't be that way. This is municipal. The duty of the municipal is to take care of its citizens, and it's an administrative function. It should not be politicized. It's a very straightforward thing. Look after the citizens, look after the neighborhood. And it's the city's responsibility to balance urban density with the needs of a neighborhood as a whole, and to ensure that, as well as lodging, services to the citizens are also included in a housing project. Increasing the maximum height from 25 to 45 meters does not provide added value to this neighborhood, not at all. We've been here, that we're sort of a collection of small, very historic houses, and it's unfortunate that some previous development has marred that neighborhood, but it's very, very special, this neighborhood. And to go on increasing the heights is really, really detrimental to the beauty of the neighborhood that we have here. And personally, I feel it will have, increasing the density will have a negative effect on the community of our low-rise houses. The other note I would like to cover is there was a time not that long ago that the workers that I see every day, the workers in IGA, in the stores, they used to live here. I remember people packing my bags at the grocery store, and they lived in apartments close by. That hasn't happened in a long time. The development that has gone on here has targeted a particular market, and it's not targeting a broad market. In other words, there should be more people living here than just the professional who's making a certain amount of money. And I was just reading what's happening in Toronto now, and I think the same thing is going to happen in Montreal. There was a survey of very small units built. They were purchased by investors, and now no one wants those small units anymore, and they're just unloading them on the market. So again, this is another chance to look at a project and to create much more diversity in the offerings that it is to the citizens, not just look at those tiny little units targeted for a particular market. Even 55 plus would be quite happy to live in units of a decent size, because we're going to find a difficulty there. The neighborhood is diverse. The offering to the neighborhood for lodging should be and should reflect that diversity. No consideration has been given to workers who cannot take advantage of the increase in housing. So yes, there's more housing over the last 10 years, but we've actually pushed out the people who work here. And I'm talking about essential workers. I'm not talking necessarily about the IT people. I'm talking about the regular everyday people you see every day. They cannot live here. And we know what's happened during COVID, that unfortunately they've been very detrimentally affected because they have to come from away and have found themselves in some difficulties. I've seen too many cases. People come here, they have kids. By the time they're 4 or 5, boom, they're gone out to the suburbs because there are no schools, there are no services here. So one of the big problems that's caused the flight to the suburbs has been the fact that development has not been broad enough, has not offered, the developments have not been expansive enough to not only provide lodging, but to also provide services so that someone can grow here. A child should be able to be born here, live here, go to school here, become a parent here, and become an elderly person. Wouldn't that be wonderful if that could happen all in this neighborhood? But it's not possible. So basically, I just want to repeat the points that I brought up in my document, and the issues that I would like the Office de la Consultation to consider, and that's denying the request to increase the height from 25 meters to 45 meters, insistence that this project comply with the highest standards with respect to noise and air pollution, receiving assurance from the developer that they will implement mitigation measures to minimize the impacts on this surrounding neighborhood, a request for greater diversity in the types of housing being offered, accessibility in the building in general and units in particular, and a reduction in the number of parking spaces. I request that the commercial space at the ground floor level be occupied by professional businesses rather than restaurants. And I did give my reasoning behind those points. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup, madame. Alors, je demanderai au commissaire de poser des questions.
Et vous pouvez les poser en français si vous voulez.
Merci beaucoup, madame.
J'avais une première question sur la situation actuellement dans la ruelle entre les bâtiments où vous êtes et le potentiel nouveau développement. Est-ce que vous pouvez nous parler un peu de ce qui se passe dans la ruelle en ce moment, la situation?
Mais qu'est-ce que vous parlez? Vous parlez de l'espace dans la ruelle ou
La circulation, en fait, la situation actuelle du passage entre les deux.
Well, at times it's difficult already because the thing is that you've got on the north side of Tupper, you've got the residents, and we all have access to park our cars. And then you also have the delivery for Dollarama, for example, that's there. So, you know, to increase that would be quite difficult, because if we're looking at, I don't know, there's quite a number of parking spaces that are planned. So if you're looking at the various other traffic that would go through the lane, I think it would be tremendous. I mean, I think there's enough traffic right now. Est-ce que ça répond à votre question?
Oui, ça répond en partie. Il y avait aussi un autre élément par rapport à la gestion des déchets. Comment ça se passe actuellement?
Well, that's not a good situation right now, unfortunately. Oftentimes we citizens get together to clean up the lanes, and it's unfortunately not garbage caused by citizens. It's oftentimes, you know, Dollarama will leave garbage out. There used to be the old Toyota service center there, and oftentimes we had a real problem with garbage. There's a little cafe. I don't think it's operating right now because they've been closed with COVID, but we have had problems with foodstuffs, and you know, it's not been handled properly. So at times the lane has been quite dirty, and we've had to clean it up ourselves.
What do you think of the architectural point of view of the project that is submitted, the sort of harmonization of on Sainte-Catherine Street, a transition on the urbanistic point of view? What do you think of that?
I don't know. You mean from the aspect, from the look of it on Sainte-Catherine?
Well, could be one of the aspects of it. What do you think?
I don't think I have a particular opinion on the architectural style. You know, I think I'm more concerned with, you know, the needs, the services, the wall coming down for those of us who live behind. It's just that the feeling that we're this beautiful little community and going to be just have this wall in front of us. We won't have it behind us because we're protected because of the Canadian Centre for Architecture. So that will always remain low rise. It's just that we are now, it's just this coming down. So that's more my perspective. I haven't really thought about what it looks like from the Sainte-Catherine Street perspective. And again, I'm happy with increase of housing. I don't think enough attention has been paid to the area that this particular historical area.
Okay. So about the issue of the zoning change, reducing the zoning height from 25 to 16 meters on the southern side of the Maisonneuve to, what do you have an opinion on that?
I feel in many ways it's like, I don't know, it's like someone giving you candy. In other words, we're saying, okay, we'll let us raise the 45 and, oh, we'll do this. And I don't see the reasoning. Like I mentioned in my document, I don't see the reasoning behind doing that. It's like, okay, if you let us have this, we'll do that. And I'm not really getting it. It seems to me that the area that I live in, it has a greater historical value than that. So yes, I think it's great, but I'm not really getting the reasoning behind it. Somehow I read the documents, but it leaves me baffled. I feel like it's a bit of baffle gab.
I was wondering, considering the proposed project right now, aside the architecture that you said is not a problem, what kind of changes would you see so that it becomes a project that you would want to have in your backyard?
I don't know if there was a way they could do a bit of an well, first of all, can they do something without having the buildings that high? Definitely, like I said, less parking. And the thing is that they're going to have balconies in the back. So we're going to be faced with a situation we've never had before, with hundreds of people, kind of, you know, even the noise that might come from a balcony. Is there a way they could do more of an offset so that the back of the project would not be so stuck up right on the lane? Is there something where if one were in the lane or in the houses in our backyards, we wouldn't get the sense of it being so close up against us? I know it would probably mean having less units, but would there be a way to make that feel a bit less of a wall in the back? That would be an improvement.
Madame, vous suggérez qu'il devrait y avoir des mesures de mitigation.
Oui.
Avez-vous des idées des mesures qu'on devrait mettre en place?
C'est-à-dire une entente, a way of the developer and the citizens to get together? Yes, I would suggest meetings. Certainly at the beginning, when it's going to be the most disruptive, both from the point of view of noise, construction, dust, and everything. So as far as I'm concerned, I think it would be a good idea for the developer to invite those around in the neighborhood to a meeting where they can describe what they're doing, how they're going to go about things, what things will be blocked, how long it will take. So in other words, keep us apprised. And also there should be a complaint line, you know, a direct number that someone can call and say, look, because sometimes it happens, the developer has all the good intentions, but somehow the workers do something, they make maybe the lane becomes impassable or something like that. So there should be a number that one could call and say, look, your trucks are there. I can't get into my garage or out of my garage. Can you do something about it? So that would be, those would be two measures I could think of.
OK. Merci beaucoup. D'autres questions?
Merci.
On veut beaucoup vous remercier, Madame Nabozniak.
Merci.
Nous allons prendre en considération les opinions de tout le monde, autant ceux qui se présentent ce soir que ceux qui nous ont seulement écrit et qui ne veulent pas présenter. Nous ferons l'analyse et ferons un rapport d'ici quelques mois.
OK, merci madame. Et messieurs et mesdames. Bye bye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.